Come work for us.
All right, Aaron.
Get those feet to work.
Aaron, what we got? What do we have for the final wine?
Okay, so the final wine is the Incubo, and an Incubo. The word it means in Latin it means the nightmare. Yeah, and in English it means a spirit that hoards a treasure or a temple guardian. And I think owning a vineyard is all three of those things. It encompasses all of those deals. So when I first came to my vineyard, the first section that was planted, we called the Incubo, and I was trying to find something that would represent all three of these things: a temple guardian, a nightmare, and a spirit that hoards a treasure. And this is answering your question, by the way.
Which is
where did that crazy symbol come from on your wine? So this is what we're talking about, and it's a dragon, tiny dragon that has a ring in its mouth, and then it has these crazy webby wings. So it's probably, if you saw it flapping around, it would be about this big. So kind of a not very scary dragon, but maybe a little surprising to see flapping through the door here. And it comes from, I had a friend who was very influential in me getting deeper into wine. He had a great cellar, and he was, one of these super rich guys that's really willing to share all of his bottles of wine with you. And he also owned a painting by a guy named Lucas Cranach. And for those of you that don't know Lucas Cranach, you might have seen a painting of his. If you've seen a picture of Martin Luther, the Protestant reformer, that would be Lucas Cranach, a painting by Lucas Cranach. And actually, Martin Luther's daughter was a model for Cranach, so all of his women look exactly the same in every painting.
He's the founder of Lutheranism or something?
He's the founder of Lutheranism. So Cranach was a painter in the 15th century, and I was looking for this character to represent my Incubo idea, and I looked in the corner of this painting, and there was this little picture of this little dragon, and it's the signature of Lucas Cranach. So I stole Lucas Cranach's signature. Please don't tell his family. I'm sure he's going to come back from the grave and sue me.
I'm gonna post this.
So anyway, it's Lucas Cranach's signature.
You'll be all right.
So this is 99% Cabernet Sauvignon, 1% Cabernet Franc, and it's two clones of Cabernet Sauvignon. One clone is called Weimer.
At 1%.
And yeah,
It really
yeah,
sticks
it's
out.
very aromatic, very
does.
the violet
It
character
does.
and the cedar. So it's Weimer clone, and Weimer clone comes from Herman J. Weimer. He went over to Chateau Latour in the 1980s and brought back a clone of Cabernet Sauvignon from Chateau Latour. And the reason we know this is because I had a friend, Jean-Louis Mondreau, who is the godfather of my two daughters, and he calls himself the godless father of my two daughters. But he's a wonderful person and incredibly intelligent, great winemaker. The second clone in here is a clone called SEE, and it was really first introduced to me as coming out of the Silverado vineyards, originally owned by the family that owns See's Candies, and then sold to the Disney family. And so it's often been called the Disney clone, but that seemed a little bit too Mickey Mouse, so I call it the C clone. And it's a clone that is rumored to have come in the 1880s from Chateau Margaux.
Wow.
Okay.
Why the ring in the mouth?
I think that's the treasure that he's hoarding.
Can you tell us a little bit about the 1% Cabernet
Yeah. I want to follow. I would choose 1%, but I want to follow up on that also.
Yeah.
So, what made the decision to throw in 1% Cab Franc instead of keeping it 100% Cabernet?
So I mean, we had a lot of grapes that we fermented together with Cabernet Franc, and it was only a tiny amount of Cabernet Franc in there, and so it was just in that lot of Cabernet Sauvignon, and I just loved how it turned out in that lot.
Okay.
So
you just left it in there.
yeah, so we just left it in. We couldn't take it out.
It's in the
Once
vineyard.
it's in,
You left
yeah,
it
you
in
couldn't
there.
get it out.
No, it was in the. We blended it together prior to fermentation. So all of these wines that you've tried, all the red wines, they're fermented in Burgundian oak uprights. So they're about 6 feet in diameter. They're about this tall. They're open tops. You can get on top of them. I can punch them down. That's kind of our surf training. Is we're doing all the punch downs, myself and Golden Boy and the interns. It's kind of we battle each other to do it because it's fun, and we do it over 24 hours. So it happens almost in the height of fermentation. We're doing it about every 2 hours, punching these guys down.
You say you don't get much sleep.
We don't get much sleep, no. And then we do long macerations. So we'll cover the top of these fats with an impermeable cover, and then we'll put gas, inert gas into them. In this case, argon, and seal the top of them, and just taste them every day, and wait until we find the ideal character of tannins, and then I'll take. If I'm ready to barrel these guys down, I'll just pick one up with a forklift and then siphon it into barrels. So the wines never see a pump in their entire life. So it's very kind of 18th century winemaking techniques, but with a forklift.
I got it. What's the average time in New French oak most of your wines?
18 to 20 months.
Okay.
And some used oak as well, right?
And some used oak,
Of
yeah.
course, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
you
it's
talk a little bit about your mindset behind the amazing packaging, one of the most unique packaging,
And the color
Napa
purple.
Valley, the wax, the purple, the inkable. The label is so beautiful as well.
And the bottle shape.
So it's my wife and I, we never agree on packaging, but we seem to argue all the time about it. And I'm a wine collector as well as all of you are, and I love collecting wine. And when I started doing my own wine, I wanted to have a capsule that when I went into a wine cellar, I could look at it and say, that's my wine. And I was really influenced by two people. We already mentioned Vieux Chateau Sauternes. I love their crazy fleshy pink capsule, which you can recognize from a mile away. And then the other one is another purple capsule that I absolutely love from Chateau that some of you may know in Pomerol.
Are they hand done?
Yeah, they're hand dipped, and then they have, I don't know if you
Do you have like a branding?
yeah. So you see the brand is on the top of the.
Which is why we cut them off when we bring them
All right,
here, so nobody can.
Yeah, it's nice that you cut them off, but you can also.